Bounce, Jeezy, huh? Just talk about that. Yeah. Rockefeller, y'all. Bounce, Rockefeller, y'all.
All right, what up, world? It's your boy G. Lewis.
Yo, I'm making sure.
And your man G. Williams. It ain't right because I ain't rap too tight. But I gotta say something. I still say something.
And I say what I say because I am my father's son. Today we're going to introduce a topic that's probably long overdue. It's probably, in my opinion, it's a contributor to a lot of the problems that we have discussed on a lot of our shows. And that is the American dream. Today, we're gonna give you a choice. Red pill, you cannot listen to what it is we have to say, or you can take the blue pill and see how deep the rabbit hole goes.
So I have to refer to the great scholar Kanye West. It says we live in the American dream, but the people highest up got the lowest self-esteem. And that song, man, that speaks volumes right there when it all goes down, because he dropping so many jewels. He says, and to be the man, look how low we are stoop. Even when you get to Benz, you still a nigga in a coupe. I mean, the American dream, basically, I can sum up like this. We spend money that we don't have to buy things that we cannot afford to impress people we do not like. That's the American dream. We go in debt to get it, and what are we really getting? We trying to keep up with the Joneses, but the Joneses done filed foreclosure. I mean, it has taken on such a new meaning that the American dream is now more than ever becoming a nightmare.
So the American dream, for me, is, and I want people to really listen, is the biggest trap that this country has devised. We always say we playing chess, not checkers. In a capitalistic society, for you to have rich people, you have to have poor people, right? You have to. Everybody can't be rich. So how do you do that? Well, you devise a system in which thousands of people might reach for the same goal, but only one is going to make it to that goal, right? So what did you just create? 999 more poor people, right? That contributes to your bottom line. You look at the society that we have now. You look at reality TV. Why is reality TV such a success? Because it's predicated on the American dream. It's about what you can get, how fast you can get it, and that creating status for you, having us all chase something instead of chasing what the real things are. Now, we got more people who could be doctors, lawyers, scholars, and really contribute to curing diseases that are online creating videos because they want to get rich now. Right. They want to get famous now, and they believe that that's the only way to do it. So while we're all fighting for those crumbs, the people who really have the money are creating and controlling everything that decides how we live. Policy, laws, law enforcement, leadership, government, all of that. Instead of us caring about running that, we're caring about how much we can put in our pocket. That is the biggest and most brilliant trap that has been predicated amongst Americans, and especially in the black community. We're so busy trying to chase the dollar that we don't understand that the control, even if we get it, we don't control it. I mean, you get money and then you got to pay taxes. And then you live in a state that decides how much you can earn and how much taxes they'll take out of your check and what your credit score is going to be. All of these things are not decided by us. And we're so busy chasing that we don't realize what we need to be doing is trying to control the decisions and not the dollars.
And I couldn't agree with you more on that point. And then, but then this is where we vehemently disagree. You know, just on this one point, and it's another show. But you know, you believe in the vote, you know, as a way of helping garnering that control. You know, where I believe that, you know, forget the vote until we get the dollar, you know. And it almost sounds counterproductive, but again, I say that's my position because I believe that the dollar controls the vote. So just in what you said, you know, we have to strive to get the power to change those things. Again, get the dollar, buy the politicians, buy the police force, buy everything else, and buy the airways, buy all those controlling factors to make our dollar really powerful. So again, and you're right, for black people especially, you focused is all wrong. And even the powers that be, the elite, keep us fighting against black and white when really it's a class issue.
Exactly.
You know, you said it before. The checkers to chess move is, as long as we're fighting amongst each other, I don't have to worry about you coming for my stuff. Being that's what the elite are doing every day. Pumping money into the things in which we're going to sit up here and bicker and argue over one another, while the wealth divide in this country is growing astronomically. Pretty soon, the bottom's going to fall out of this thing where there is going to be no middle class. You're going to either have it or you're not. And while y'all sit up here fighting over, you know, black and white, you know, we going to steadily get this money and employ these cops to keep the poor people away from the rich people. You know, plain and simple. Even like that movie, the Justin Timberlake movie, I can't remember the title, Running Out of Time or something like that, where time was the currency. And they were sectioned off in different bungalows and cities where you couldn't cross. You know, I honestly see that coming where, you know, there's going to be barriers and heavy guards and everything with sections of town that you can't cross into because you don't have the capital to do so. You're just going to be sitting. This whole time we have wasted all our time, resources fighting amongst each other when we should all be striving to get to a higher level. So, you know, again, transitioning to with the wealth divide growing as it is, and you know, some positives. I guess the American dream itself started because it was the idea that one could achieve the highest heights regardless of where one's birth position put them into. You know, and that's why we have an influx of people who come into this country from other countries, because in other countries you're necessarily born into a class and that's where you stay. You know, all the while really kind of not realizing, or we even tell ourselves the lie a lot of times, that that's just as true here as it is anywhere else in the world. But you know, expound on that, or let me get you.
And that's my point, because that was the design. See, a lot of people look at the American dream under the shroud or the illusion of which it was originally designed. That it says that any person can come here and make anything of themselves, when there are rules that restrict people from doing exactly that. It was never intended for anybody to be willing to do. I mean, just like if you look at the Declaration of Independence and you read the Declaration of Independence, it says all men are created equal, yet they had slaves. The intent was never to include everybody. It was always to include a specific group of individuals. And what you have to understand, just like Meyer Lansky said, this is America and everything is money. So once you establish that you're at the top, if you were one of the richest people on the planet, are you willing to give up your money so that somebody else can live their dream? Absolutely not. That is the foundation of capitalism, which is why I believe in changing policy and not buying policy, because we'll never have enough money to buy policy. Because the people that we're fighting against will always have more money, but they'll never have more numbers. There will always be more poor people than there will be rich people. There will always be more people struggling and have a reason to come together to solve a problem than there will be rich people. So if we spend our time trying to pool our resources from a financial standpoint, which is really exactly what they want us to do. It's just like when you play on the street, big bank take little bank. We will lose every time. But what they can't do is stud our numbers. When our numbers walk through the door, I mean, the presidential election showed you. When we walk through the door, united with a single-minded purpose, something happens whether they want it to or not. And that's really the bottom line. We don't need to buy politicians. We need to build our own. We need to, who's to say that Harry the butcher down the street in our community that we really love and know is a straight and honest guy and he runs his business well and is good in the economy, that we shouldn't be pushing him for city council instead of letting somebody come to our city and say, vote for me. No, we're going to pick our candidates. You know, instead of buying the police, why don't we change and demand a change of the recruiting structure of law enforcement? Why don't we demand it? That there needs to be a reflection of the community in which you work that needs to reflect in the police force. Why don't we do that? We can, but we don't. And we can only do that through policy. See, if we, when like I said, it's like big bank take little bank. When we show up with our money, a while ago, I really had time to really sit back and kind of look at the picture. And we always say we're playing chess, not checkers. And I realized I was going through life playing checkers. I really was. And then I realized, you know, why don't we have black kids to talk about being city councilmen, city managers, congressmen, senators, police chiefs, all the positions of power that really control how we're able to live? If you wanted to go outside your house and water your grass and the city said don't, there is an authoritative position that can come and stop you on your property from doing what it is that you want to do. That's the American dream, right? And like you said, law enforcement has been, they've always been on the wrong side of history. They have been used to manage the masses to ensure that the people who really are living the American dream can continue to live it. So, you know, what we have to ask ourselves first is, what is the American dream? And then, is that really attainable? And if it is attainable, how do we go about it? We keep saying this is chess, not checkers. We got to start looking at the big picture. You know, I talked to some people about maybe one day running for a state senate position. People are like, why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't I? That's where the decisions are made. Why don't you want to do it is the bigger question. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you want to be the city manager? Why don't you want to sit on the city council? When we sit and complain about the laws and we complain about the way things are and we complain about how much taxes we pay, you know, where's that being decided? So while we're chasing dollars, we're losing dollars, which is what it's all about. In a capitalistic society, it's built to make you poor. So we have to understand the game that we're playing if we want to win. And so, you know, like, and I'm going to be the first to say it, I'm not saying don't go out and buy nice stuff. I like nice stuff. I grew up poor, okay? You know, so having the opportunity to buy things that I wasn't able to buy, I don't have a problem with that, as long as you're intelligent with what you're investing in. Because, see, you got to understand also, as a part of the American dream, if you want to get in the club, you have to look like you belong in the club. It's just like if you show up to a nightclub with t-shirt and tennis shoes on and everybody else has on a suit, you're not getting through the door. But if I walk up to, you know, golf club, or, you know, or I go to a place where these guys are rich and smoking cigars, and I show up with some $700 Ferragamo shoes and a $2,000 Ferragamo watch, do you know what they say to me? Come on in and let me get you a cigar, because I look like I belong. And that's something that we have to start thinking about. It's not just about how much you got in your bank account. It's about infiltration, learning the game, and then using what you learn to better yourself and your community. If you don't look the part, you're not getting through the door. That's what security is for. Security, law enforcement, policy, all of that is security. That's your nightclub security. It's designed to keep you out unless you look like you belong. How many parties did we go to back in the day where the line was around the block, but because of the way we looked, they walked us to the front door? That's what we're talking about when we're talking about the American dream. It's chess, not checkers. It's not just about how many businesses you own. It's not just about how much money is in your bank account. It's about how you're affecting decisions. And you can't affect decisions if you're not in the room. And that's the way we do it. We won't do that no more. Even when you get the job, it's built to separate you from the people. You move into the governor's mansion. Why? How come I can't be the governor and still live in the same neighborhood that I've always lived in? Because they want us divided. It's all part of the American dream. It's the plan. It's the biggest hustle. It's the biggest hustle since what? People still looking for Jimmy Hoffa. You know what I'm saying? The biggest hustle. It is. Have us chasing pennies while they making money off us making money. Brilliant. Fucking genius, man. I'm going to take over this nation, and now we have to figure out how we're going to keep it. And how do we keep it? The American dream. We sell people on something that we control whether they attain it or not. It's fucking brilliant, man. Fucking brilliant.
So I guess with that, I'm announcing my bid for candidacy right here on the Book of G. I will be running for office, but I'm going to start by running for office of the people, which it doesn't actually have a salary nor any real benefit, but hopefully to get people to listen. Mm-hmm. And so in regards to this American dream concept that we're talking about, particularly in the black community, I'm starting the No New Jays initiative for 2015. Okay, and the bad part is I probably only have maybe 3 followers, but 3 can change a nation, right? So the No New Jays policy, all right, for the rest of 2015 on to 2016 and beyond. So instead of getting the New Jays, I'll need you to take your $200 and put it into the account, okay? The public account. So if you put your 200 and I put my 200, then now we starting to garner some group economics to make attainable this dream in which we're talking about. But I do think it needs to be rewritten, and I agree with you. So now that we're not chasing something that we can't ever obtain, but now we're changing the law and the focus to benefit and work for us. So the No New Jays campaign, I need you to hashtag that, run it across the internet, and we're going to get this thing sparked off. No New Jays, 2015. Si se puede. Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this then. With us defining what the American dream is, with us, giving our philosophies on what we think it is, what do you think is one thing, and I think you kind of just did, but what do you think is one thing that people should be focused on instead of the American dream, that you would say right now in the household needs to be a priority over the American dream?
Right. And I think that answers it right there. You got to focus on the household. And the household means your self-sufficiency in this nation. So, not being dependent upon an employer, I think is very important. Not solely dependent on an employer. Okay? I think one has to establish their own economy. So one cannot just be controlled by the day-to-day efforts of a job. And in that, teaching your children and how to do the same. So you garner those 2 things. Let's have the household dream, and then we'll change the direction of the American dream.
Okay, I would definitely say it's time for people to stop making excuses for not educating themselves on the game in which they're playing. People need to know what game they're playing in order for them to have a shot to win. whether it's financial, whether it's, you know, academic, regardless of what your American dream goals are and how you're trying to apply them, if you don't control the narrative, you don't control the result. And you can only do that, you know, by stopping the game in the middle of the game, sit the dice down, grab the rules, read the rules, and see how the game is played. Because that's the only way you're going to win. It doesn't kill you to watch the news from time to time. I know it's depressing. You know, they should call it bad news, right? That's what they should call it. However, they tell you everything you need to know. One of the biggest insults that I learned as a kid that really made me change how I approached learning was I was told, if you ever want to hide something from a black person, you put it in a book. You put it in a book. So you know what I did? You're not hiding nothing from me. I want to know everything now. I want to know everything. So, you know, and parents, don't feel ashamed if you're not as knowledgeable as you think you should be. It all starts with one piece of information. You learn one piece of information that takes you to two pieces. And if you don't understand everything you read, that's what things like the Book of G is for. We're here to take things that were designed for you not to understand and break them down at a level to where you can say, ah, this is what this means and this is how this affects me. So I would say people need to focus on educating themselves. And that doesn't necessarily mean school. It means educating yourself. If you have to go to school to educate yourself, do it that way. If you got to pick up a book, do it that way. But stop being ignorant to the fact that you are living in the matrix. Whether you want to or not, the American dream is the matrix. And I'm trying to unplug you right now and show you the real world that you really live in. Because you can't do anything until you know where you really live in.
That's right. Red Pill Movement, y'all. Let's go.
Yeah.
So until then, the Book of G. Like it, love it. Want more of it? Send a comment, hit the share button, and let's start to change the narrative, especially amongst our people.
That's right.
Rock.
I'm out for presidents to represent me.
Rockefeller,
I'm out
yo.
for presidents to represent
Solid,
me.
continue.
I'm out for every presidents to represent me.
Who wanna bet us that we don't touch letters, stack cheddars forever, live treacherous, all the etceteras, to the death of us, me and my confidants, we shine, you feel the ambiance, y'all niggas just rhyme, by the ounce though accumulates like snow, we don't just shine, we illuminate the whole show, you feel